I'm back. Did you miss me? Today on CityCast Las Vegas, I'm with Nevada Current reporter Michael M.J. Lyle and community advocate Patricia Haddad Bennett. And we're covering your week in Vegas news, including how the federal government shutdown is going to affect us locally, how our October 1st Memorial Fund needs a lot more funds, and how Spirit Airlines is furloughing nearly 400 employees right before Christmas. It's Friday, October 3rd. I'm Sarah Lohman, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. Oh, who's my favorite gal about town and gay about town? Good morning.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
All right. So before we jump into the news, I think you two know this too, but this is the tail end of our fall membership campaign.
Yep.
So thank you to everyone who has already joined. You know, one thing we've been thinking about here at CityCast recently is like what it means to live here on purpose. I mean, to me, it means that when I'm traveling, I will defend Las Vegas to the last. I will tell I had someone tell me that they visited here and they assumed that everyone who lived here worked on the Strip. And I was like, it's 2.4 million people. And they were like, oh, I guess not. So that's what it means to me, both loving the city and telling everybody else how much I love it, but also being like, you know what? I should keep this secret. I don't want how good it is here getting out.
Mm-hmm.
Patricia, MJ, I'm curious, like, what it means to you. You both live here on purpose. What does that mean to you, MJ?
I want to take that in a general sense of like, we're seeing just the loss of media at the local level.
Yeah.
And so, and that has a tremendous effect on our communities and just on our nation in general. And so I think that supporting any media entity, whether it's podcasts, whether it's newsletters, whether it's independent media on the local level is so important and crucial right now, which is why this membership drive for CityCast is so incredible, because we need local media, local voices to talk about what's happening at the community level and kind of be able to decipher some of the federal things that's happening and what that means on a local level. So that's what kind of stuff like this means, like just supporting
Which we're
local.
do today.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Patricia?
Yeah, I always have the conversation with folks when I'm out of town or people that are not from Vegas. They're like, why are you in Las Vegas? I'm like,
Las Vegas. Someone asked me if I was okay, Patricia.
Oh, right.
Are you
It's
okay,
like,
Sarah?
Yeah, well, good question. Okay.
I'm very happy. Thank you.
Well, it's like, I grew up here and it's like, I'm sorry, pitch me on somewhere that's better, that has the possibility of so much change that you can be a part of. You're part of building the community. It's the smallest, cutest place, of all time at the same time, even though it's superimposed on a big city, but like being connected to people and being connected, whether that is directly or through, opportunities like the CityCast, on a daily basis, you get to learn more about our big little town here. I mean, I guess we're not Reno, but you know what I'm saying. I think is really unmatched. And I will just say on a membership side, like I always kind of squeal a little bit when I get the members only email of like, hey, put your name in for tickets to go see like Wizard of Oz or what some of these other things are that like, frankly, I probably otherwise may or may not go see, but like, or even know about, but that I learned about through like being a member.
Even for me, when I first moved here and I was a newbie, like CityCast Las Vegas and the Hey Las Vegas newsletter, like really helped me live here on purpose. And I know we're doing that for a lot of other people who are new to Las Vegas as well. CityCast Las Vegas neighbors help us continue to make this show. And when you join as a neighbor, you get access to that community too. Like folks like you that love the city and want to see it thrive. Just like those tickets and those members events that we were talking about, Patricia. So this is your last chance to help us reach our goals during this campaign and get the Neighbors Make Las Vegas tote bag. You know what? I have to stand the tote bags for a second. They're different every membership round. And the last one, the bag was so ample. And it had a zipper top.
Yes.
You the black one, right,
Yep.
Patricia?
Beautiful. Love it. I use it all the time.
So I trust whoever on the team is picking out these totes. And I know you're going to love this tote bag because I'm genuinely obsessed with mine. Executive producer Sonia Cho Swanson says it has a flat bottom and sturdy handles, just like me, y'all.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Actually, to be honest, my bottom is quite ample and sturdy like the rest of me. So that's it. It's $10 a month. And you know what? It's a really good time. We've got a fun event coming up too with tacos and loteria. So you know what? I think you're just going to really like joining us. Join us. Oh, and if you would like to sign up, please go to membership.citycast.fm. Okay, let's get into the news. MJ, the federal government shut down this week. Some people are furloughed. Some people are working without pay right now. Can you talk about how this is going to affect us locally here in Las Vegas?
Absolutely. So the Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House. But right now, there is disagreements on a continuing resolution. They do need 7 Democrats in the Senate to sign this continuing resolutions, but Democrats will not support the resolution because it doesn't include extending health subsidies under the Affordable Care Act or reversing some of the healthcare cuts that were included in the spending bill that was passed over the summer. So as a result, the government shut down. There are 750,000 federal workers across the U.S. that could be furloughed. In Nevada, that's 22,000 federal workers here. But essential workers like public safety, including law enforcement, air traffic control, they're continue to work without pay. And so what that means, what does that mean? That means if you are working but not getting a paycheck, you're not going to be able to make rent. You're not going to be able to maybe rely on food banks.
I am too surly and ungovernable for that. I do have currently have friends working without pay. And I was like, you have to go to an office and no one is paying you for it.
So the last substantial government shutdown, also under the Trump administration, started in 2018 through 2019. It lasted 35 days. And so what we saw there was people without a paycheck having to rely on food banks, having to rely on rental assistance, having to rely on other things because they're working and they're not able to, they're still working, but they're not getting a paycheck. And so they still need to
You can't go get another job if you're working your job.
But I will say there are some key differences. We've already seen some of those support services and the social safety net already strained to the max, especially through this administration, through the last few months. We've seen substantial cuts to offices, to budgets. And so there is already a strain on a lot of these social safety nets and already a lot of concern with food banks. And so we don't know what that's going to look like when an already strained system meets people that are going to be in need, which is, if this is going to be prolonged for much longer, that's something we can definitely see.
That's such an important point.
I know other services right now, like Medicare and Social Security, those are essential services, and so those will go out as normal for the time being. Things like SNAP and WIC, they'll be funded through October, but as things progress, it's going to be harder and harder to sustain these systems. And as a result, probably the most vulnerable, working class and the most vulnerable people are going to be the most affected right now. So,
and I read in the Hey Las Vegas newsletter that Catherine Cortez Masto actually broke rank and voted with Republicans.
Yes, this happened again. This happened in March as well. There was a threat of a shutdown over the budget, which is like a continuing thing throughout the ages. Like there's a joke that happens every a couple times a year. But in March, she voted against the actual funding, but it needs 60 votes to actually get out of committee to get to the floor to actually get the vote. And she broke rank with a lot of other Democrats, including Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, to actually allow that to come up for a vote. Right now, they don't have as many votes as they did last time because they actually faced a lot of pushback for the Democrats that joined Republicans last March.
This is crazy. Even though initially, it was Obamacare, there's all this pushback. Now that people are on it, people really like this legislation. However, I do want to mention that as of November 1st, the state of Nevada is launching its Battle-Born health plans, which are part of the ACA, but are offering state discounts. Like it's a state option healthcare plan that is going to be a little bit different than the ACA. And hopefully the idea is really affordable. But since the plans aren't out until November 1st, I haven't looked at them yet. So Nevada has its own solutions, but most other American states do not have good solutions to offer healthcare for citizens not working in traditional jobs where their employers provide their health insurance.
Well, it makes me wonder about the stopgap, right? So you're talking about the last time that the government shut down, it was 35 days. We're hearing the state say, we're good through the end of the month, right? Whatever that looks like. And then you're talking about a November 1 launch on the statewide healthcare, system that's being launched. And like, that is a hairy gray area,
well, Patricia,
once you get to the end of this month.
Until January 1st.
So there you go, right? And I think, and this to Michael's point or MJ's point earlier, like, okay, we're hearing that like things should be okay for a little while, but when you're talking about our most vulnerable community members, or even not even our most vulnerable, just community members, right, that are using and leveraging these support services, and just like the stress that is being placed on folks of the uncertainty of what happens next. And, I have big thoughts, right, about all of this. But I will say I have some appreciation for Catherine Cortez Masto of like recognizing that like the stakes are really high. And I understand there is some serious political jockeying that needs to happen. And there are big things that need to happen and that do need to be included to make sure that like we can sustain like a quality of life in this country, right? But like, I do have some appreciation of like, we just need to get something done right now so that people are not left in the lurch.
Definitely. Patricia, you've done a lot of advocacy within the Las Vegas community. Like, what kinds of power do individual, local elected officials and citizens like us like have in this situation? What can or should we be doing?
That's such a good question. I mean, my first answer would be like, call your federal representative and let them know what's important to you. Let them know what your story is. So then they're armed with that information and that can help inform how they go about advocating for our state. I mean, that would probably be my best answer, and just making sure that you're staying engaged, you're staying informed, and, to the extent possible, creating backup plans for yourself, not knowing how long this might go on. It's like a very unsatisfying answer, but like, I don't know. I mean, I would be curious if you guys had other thoughts too. Like, tell me what I should be doing, frankly, beyond that.
It's hard right now because it's such a different, it's just a different feel from other, like I've only covered one other mass shutdown that was in 2019. I did reporting of that. And there's always politics at play and finger pointing, but there's such a different vibe this time, especially around the politics that's involved in this. Like, during budget negotiations with both Democratic leaders, Hakeem Jeffries and Schumer, right after they had a visit with the White House posted a vulgar and racist video mocking those two. And so there's a lot of
did they write a strongly worded letter back? I know
I'm
Schumer's
sure they
really
did.
good at that.
They love their strongly worded letters. But I like there's a lot of bad faith actions going into these negotiations. And then you have, which I had to look up because I was dumbfounded that this is actually a thing. I saw a story about the HUD website essentially having a banner blaming Democrats for the shutdown, which is so unprecedented. So I had to pull it up to be like, no, this is not a thing that happened. And
so real.
Wild.
And I saw other reporting this morning of Department of Education employee had a typical auto office response on her email, and it was changed without her permission to blame Democrats. And so there's a lot of politicization going into this right now. And so I think that's also, as citizens, we should actually be aware of that. And so we know kind of what is going on and knowing the background of what's going into this. And like, when we see the finger pointing back and forth, we can cut through, frankly, the bullshit and kind of have a better understanding of like what's going on.
Yes, and there's been reporting and rumors that this is all being pushed as an excuse to fire quote-unquote non-essential government employees, that if you weren't required to come into the office, you could lose your job after this too, which is another level of frightening. This would be to reduce the deficit. I don't know if you could just hear the air quotes in my voice. The federal deficit has grown larger over the past 10 months. So all of the firings and cuts in the government have not done anything. So I wonder where that money is going.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I'm a CityCast Las Vegas neighbor. I moved to Las Vegas in 2019, but the city has always felt like a second home thanks to family connections and frequent visits all my life. What finally brought me here was the writing community. I connected with and found people who were supportive, creative, and welcoming. That sealed the deal for me. Since moving, I've fallen for the hidden community off the Strip, the part you don't see as a tourist. CityCast Las Vegas helps me discover it. I read the newsletter every morning. Some days it's serious updates, other days it's fun, weird Vegas stuff. Either way, it always feels local and relevant. When I became a neighbor, I was first excited about the member events that are a resource for community building and creating new connections. But what keeps me here is the value and the sense that I'm supporting local voices that matter. For me, it was a no-brainer, because Vegas deserves this kind of local storytelling. When you become a CityCast Las Vegas neighbor, you're not just supporting local media, you're investing in your community. Join me at membership.citycast.fm.
Okay, so speaking of funding, for a while now, there has been a movement to put into place an October 1st memorial here in Las Vegas. But unfortunately, the fundraisers for that memorial are still far from their goals. Patricia, can you tell us more?
Of course, October 1, 2017, our community saw one of the most terrible tragedies that we have ever sort of collectively experienced, with the carnage that happened at the Route 91 Harvest Festival, country music festival, where we had tons of community members, tons of folks from outside of our community that were there to attend, just like a lovely, beautiful, music festival that turned into the worst possible nightmare that anyone could think of. And, we know so many people in our community were impacted, whether that was first responders, whether they were on the job or not, right? That showed up, folks that were in the area doing everything they could. I know I showed up, the next morning to the blood bank and stood in line with a couple hundred other people, at a loss for like how else we can help. And so as a part of that, recovery effort and sort of moving forward, as a community, there has been a couple of years of work to get to a point to develop a really thoughtful memorial on that site where, this tragedy occurred. And so there have been tons of folks that have been involved in sort of the development process up to this point. They've picked this really beautiful, thought-provoking memorial design that has a pretty serious price tag of $40 million attached to it. Yeah. And, they've started.
I didn't.
It's a lot of cheese. Yeah.
That's a lot of cheese.
Yeah.
Patricia, yeah.
For sure. And, so what, right? Like it should be commensurate to, the impact and the power, right, that is needed in order to commemorate, something that was so massive. And so, I think the issue that folks are running into, and of course, just recently we've had our, I think it's the 8th anniversary, if I'm not mistaken. There was a sunrise memorial that happened. They do it over at the county amphitheater. And, some of the conversation there, and then there's been some news around the progress to fundraise for this $40 million memorial. And so far, it seems that they have raised 10% of that. I know the Knights have given $1 million, but there hasn't been much more than that. And so they are expecting, or they have a goal of opening by 2027, which would be the 10-year anniversary. But there's a long way to go. That's kind of where it's at right now.
Wow. I mean, yes, we need a memorial, but some of me is like, maybe we should have the memorial affording housing complex or something. It is so much money, and obviously they're very far away from their goals. So I know that the idea is they're going to place this on the Strip. Are there sort of arguments for and against the location of this memorial, especially of this size and stature? MJ, what have you heard in your reporting?
One of the things about the 4 is like that's the location of the site. And so,
Yeah.
and this
Yeah.
does affect, even though this deeply affects our community, there are so many outsiders too. And so it makes sense for that to be on the site. But
Yeah.
again, locals don't go to the Strip, and I'm sure there's other people that don't want to actually return to that site too, and like would like to pay
Yeah.
their respects in other places. And so it's a mixed bag. It's really hard of like, how do you address that? I
Mm.
think we should have a memorial to reflect this tragic time in our
Mm-hmm.
community. But I think one of the best things that we could do to honor the impact of any type of gun violence is actually policy reform. I think that's the best memorial,
Yeah.
and that is the best response. But that's just my 2 cents of of what I think. But so it's a yes and think approach, and so
I totally
Uh,
agree with that. Yeah.
Seconded, Michael. After the shooting of Charlie Kirk, my first reaction was, does this movie get to have gun reform now? And apparently we don't. I would love to see some common sense gun control in this country. Um, Patricia, so I think memorials, serve the purpose of being able to go to a physical place and mourn with other people.
mhm.
Are there other ways that you feel that we can be memorializing October 1st until we get this physical space?
So, I mean, there is currently a physical space in the city of Las Vegas. It's the
Mm.
Healing
Mm.
Garden. It's
Mhm.
very intimate. It's very beautiful. I mean, it's heart-wrenching to walk through. Families of the victims have left mementos and photos, and so that space I think exists. And I'm not sure what the plan is. Once this memorial on the Strip opens, what the plan is. Hopefully, the city will continue to maintain that
Yeah.
because it is just a very beautiful space. But, I think I was listening to some of the speakers at the most recent memorial, and there was a man who was a father. His daughter, adult daughter, was killed on October 1 in this tragedy. And I'm choking up thinking about it. He was talking about how important holding space
Yeah.
is, and having a physical space even. He was talking about how it took him 6 years to go to the Healing Garden and
Oh,
to
wow.
visit it. And now that he's so glad that he has. But like, his sort of call to all of us was to not let the memories fade, and that this should never just be another day,
Yeah.
and that we should all as a community continue to embrace the families,
Mm-hmm.
and doing that in like you were mentioning, like through policy, right?
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
also through investing in these types of things that really demonstrate that like this is a real community that cares
Mm.
deeply about this, that cares deeply about the
Mm-hmm.
victims and the family members and the friends of those victims. And, that families are also, this was the biggest, again, I want to cry thinking about it, that folks draw strength from these types. Like it is not
Mm-hmm.
inconsequential
Yeah.
to have a physical space that people can go to and either grieve or have that catharsis. And so, drawing strength from that, I think, what more do I don't need to know much more
Yeah.
about why this is important, or why a memorial is important. It's really about helping to heal everyone.
I've got nothing more to say on that. Thank you, Patricia.
Yeah.
You've heard us pitching CityCast Las Vegas Neighbors all week because we really do think it's awesome and that you'll gain something from it in addition to supporting our daily show. But don't take our word for it. One of the best parts of the membership campaigns is hearing from people who sign up to join. We love hearing their stories and reasons for supporting, such as Adrienne B., who says she wants to be connected to a culture of positivity and appreciation for our cities. And you guys bring it with gusto.
Yes.
I love that. Oh, that's really sweet. And Vince W., who says, I'm a transplant to Las Vegas and it's a bit tough for newcomers in this town. I like the content and the vibe of CityCast Las Vegas, so I'm happy to support and to feel a part of this wonderful area. Heard. I did the same when I moved here, and we're getting 25,000 new people every year. And so I feel like this is really helpful. I know, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
That is
Yep.
crazy.
And also, one of my favorite parts of one of our membership benefits is that you get to email us to shout out your local favorite, nonprofit organization or small business. And I really love reading those because either it's places I already love or I get to discover something new about our city myself. You can join Adrian and Vince and become a CityCast Las Vegas neighbor today for just $10 a month by going to membership.citycast.fm.
Are we allowed to talk about that as a member, you also get the ad-free version of the podcast?
Oh
Not that I don't
God.
truly appreciate all of the sponsors, but I have to say, the quality of listening is better.
That includes the sponsors and the ads that we read. I'm with you. I pay for podcasts, and that is the reason that I pay for podcasts.
Just saying.
Is ad-free. No,
Just
I'm with you. I'm with you. Okay, y'all. Do you fly Spirit at all? Have you flown Spirit?
Sometimes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I'm
on the oh yes. It's
Yes.
cheap, and at least up until recently, they flew the most direct flights in and out of Vegas.
Yeah.
And so I would be on that bad boy to Newark more than I want to admit. So we already know that in early September, Spirit Airlines announced that it was discontinuing service to 11 cities to focus on its stronger performing markets. That came on the heels of Spirit filing for bankruptcy protection. So already not looking good. And a letter was just sent to its employees that as of December 1st, 2025, or within 14 days of that date, 393 employees will be furloughed at the Harry Reid International Airport in Las Vegas.
Yikes.
Yeah, so right before Christmas, nearly 400 people are going to not have a job, but then maybe have a job. The furlough is like the indecision of employment. So basically, Spirit Airlines is not doing well, and the kind of undeniable recession that's hitting Las Vegas has also really affected it. It's carried more than 350,000 fewer passengers this August compared to August 2024.
Oh, wow.
Now, I don't have statistics of other airlines. I know that overall, like visitation to Vegas has been down significantly, but I do not know if Spirit is doing worse than some of the other airlines, right? Okay. So let's help them out because I'm sure they're listening right now and they're like, CityCast, show us the way, help us, help us. What could we do to help? Their goal is to reduce deficit, right, and increase profit. This is a good business plan. So what else could they do to generate even more money and hire back those furloughed workers? Now, I'm going to start because my answer is boring. I have been on a lot of planes recently, and here are the top two things that I love about other airlines, okay? One, Delta has that snack cabinet, and you can get up and get snacks anytime you want to. Yeah. I just want to, like, both on camera, both Patricia and MJ just like amend me. You can have as many snacks and seltzers and sodas, which like how little money is that? And like how much unlimited happiness does it provide? One. Two, I just flew into Vegas on JetBlue.
And boy, my arm's tired. Just kidding.
Hey!
Just kidding.
Try that. They have every kind of outlet you could ever want. You want a USB? You want a USB 2? You want just a regular old power outlet? They are all there, baby. I was happy. Those are so simple. And I feel like when I get on Spirit, I've said this about Frontier before, which is slightly worse. I am riding on a plane made of Legos. So, MJ and Patricia, do you have some other ideas? Now, it can be airline improvements or just like something they can do to help them generate more money and book more tickets. What do you think?
I think they should have a price tier for the Mile High Club. I mean, so many people want to partake. So just, if you have like a tiered membership for that, people can do it in like a safe space. It's almost like regulated sex work.
Yeah, that's what. Okay, so now I am not a lawyer like David Figler, but I do feel like if you're in the airspace over a county that isn't Clark County, then sex work is probably legal.
There you go.
Right?
Oh my
There
gosh.
it is.
Yes.
So they just have to register as a brothel, and we are good to go. You know what? Nevada is not famous for serving women's needs, but I think that might be the angle that they need, right?
Yes.
I'm in.
Wow. There are a million things I thought that you were going to say. That was not one of them, but I think that's $1 million idea. Okay.
Sylvia Cho Swanson points out you'd have to move fast, but I do feel like you'd have like 23 minutes. Like they make the announcement that you have to go to the bathroom like right before they start landing, right?
Yeah.
So like it's time to go to the bathroom. Wink? I don't know. All right, Patricia, what do you think? Is it a $1 million idea?
Yeah. I think that's $1 million idea. I had a couple of thoughts. So, one, my as someone that gets a little queasy on an airplane, I think that you should, much like an Airbnb, if you like leave a mess behind, I think you should be charged if you bring smelly food onto an airplane that is recycling air. No, you need not.
That's the problem with Spirit. You could charge $11 for a cheese plate with 4 scraps of cheese on it. So I'm coming on that with my stinky noodles, you know?
Okay, but can you just eat your noodles while we're waiting to board? Because we're probably catching a delay anyways. No, I'm not saying just about Spirit. I'm saying in general.
Maybe there needs to be a separate lounge.
Okay, fine. All I know is I don't not want to smell your chili cheese dog when I sit down on the plane at 8 a.m.
Fair enough.
My other thought was quarter for the bathroom. Let's go.
Patricia, you were making this worse. Because they would take that idea.
I know. I'm sorry.
I'm surprised they haven't.
Oh my God. Do you remember when they went from 50-pound check-in luggage to 40-pound? It was absolute chaos.
I have one more idea. I would pay extra for a non-talking section.
Ooh.
Like on the Amtrak.
Yes, because like, as much as like I fantasize it's not happened that I get to sit next to a cute guy and like we have a good meet cute and like
no,
I've seen those stories that have not happened to me. Instead I get like I'm in my book and people want to talk to me and I'm just like I'm just trying to read. Like so I would pay a little bit extra for like a non-talking section.
I like that.
I don't want to be cute. You don't know me. Shut up.
And I don't want to know you, by the way. I realize our thighs are touching, but I don't want to know you.
Because you're man-spreading, and I'm going to press back. Listen, I've reached my quota. I don't need to know any new people, period.
Except for all you amazing listeners.
For members, yes.
Okay, that is true. I do want it. I'm lying. I'm actually not as surly as I've previously purported and represented myself. I'm actually very affable, but it is different on a plane. I don't want a plane friend. Goodbye.
Yes. Yep.
Before you go, one last reminder to become a CityCast neighbor. I want to thank our existing members. Thank you, Patricia.
Yes, no problem.
And our brand new members, Jeremy J, Shelby C, Carolyn T, and Kim B. You've just joined a real special group of people who want to connect over their shared love for the city and love making the city better.
Yay.
And you're going to get that tote. Flat bottom, sturdy handles, says Neighbors Make Las Vegas on the side. So please go to membership.citycast.fm and become our neighbor. MJ and Patricia, thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
And that's all for today here in CityCast Las Vegas. Our executive producer is Sonia Cho Swanson. Our producer is Layla Muhammad, and our newsletter editor is Rob Katchel-Reese. And our roving newsletter editor was Adrian Gonzalez. Our hosts are David Figler and myself, Sarah Lohman. Music is by OG Moose, Epidemic Sound, and all the kimonos. We record this show on the traditional homelands of the Nawuvi, the Southern Paiute people. If you enjoyed this show, why not tell a friend? You can rate our show and leave us a review and subscribe to our morning newsletter, Hey Las Vegas. Don't forget, you can also support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Las Vegas neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back Monday morning with more news from around the city. Take care. You've heard us pitching. That sounded too desperate. Hang on.
Please give us money.
You heard us.